Adolfo de Constanzo, also known as the Godfather of Matamoros, was a serial killer, proxy killer, abductor, one-time mass murderer, and drug dealer. Constanzo was born in Miami on November 1, 1962, to Delia Aurora González del Valle, a 15-year-old Cuban immigrant who had two other children with different fathers. Constanzo's biological father, her first husband, died when he was a baby. She then relocated with her family to San Juan, Puerto Rico, where she remarried. He was baptized as a Catholic and briefly served as an altar boy in accordance with his stepfather's wishes, but he would accompany his mother on her trips to Haiti, where he learned about voodoo and secretly practiced it with his mother. Constanzo's family returned to Miami in 1972. His stepfather died of cancer the following year. Constanzo became an apprentice under a priest in Little Havana who practiced Palo Mayombe, which involves animal sacrifice, when he was 10 years old. Constanzo's mother remarried for the second time around this time to a man involved in the drug trade and voodoo religions. Constanzo spent his adolescence cruising gay clubs and committing petty crimes like vandalism and theft before beginning an apprenticeship with a Haitian priest. He also began to practice fortune-telling. Around the age of 18, he allegedly predicted an unsuccessful assassination attempt on President Ronald Reagan, which occurred shortly afterwards. He attended a junior college for one semester after graduating from high school with poor grades. In 1983, Constanzo swore allegiance to Kadiempembe, the Palo Mayombe equivalent of the devil, and relocated to Mexico City, where he founded his cult and met and recruited Martin Quintana Rodriguez, Omar Orea Ochoa, and Jorge Montes. He also started having sexual relations with Quintana and Ochoa. Constanzo's fortune-telling and ritual cleansing services were sold to the community by the group. They frequently dealt with gangsters, drug dealers, and high-ranking corrupt law enforcement officials. They performed rituals and animal sacrifices to bring good luck to their clients, using both locally available animals like goats and chickens and exotic ones like zebras and lion cubs. He had over 30 well-paying clients at the peak of the cult's career, had purchased a $60,000 condominium in Mexico City and several luxury cars, and had recruited at least 4 members of the Federal Judicial Police. They apparently progressed to using human remains in rituals in 1985, obtaining them by raiding a local graveyard. He was introduced to members of the Calzada crime family in 1986 and began selling his fortune-telling services to them for a large profit. Constanzo demanded full partnership with them the following year. When they refused him, his cult kidnapped, tortured, and killed 7 Calzadas. Several body parts were removed from the bodies, including fingers, toes, brains, and, in one case, the spine. Soon after, he recruited another member, Sarah Aldrete, whom he dubbed La Madrina, Spanish for the Godmother, and appointed as the cult's high priestess. Constanzo relocated to Rancho Santa Elena, a compound in the Mexican desert where he also stored large amounts of drugs, in 1988. Constanzo became more focused on human sacrifices at this point, killing several people for use in his rituals. Because the majority of them were prostitutes, homeless people, or drug dealers, their disappearances went unnoticed. Constanzo's cult committed the murder that would lead to its demise on March 14, 1989. They had sacrificed and killed a stranger the day before to ensure the safe passage of a shipment of 800 kilos of marijuana he was trading. Constanzo had his followers abduct and kill another victim because he felt the victim had not suffered enough during the sacrifice. Their target became Mark J. Kilroy, a Texan pre-med student who was in Mexico on spring break, who was killed with a machete blow to the head. He also murdered a victim named Gilberat Sosa as final security for the marijuana shipment. Kilroy, unfortunately for Constanzo, had not been as anonymous as his previous victims. He came from a wealthy family that offered a reward for information leading to his safe return, and his disappearance put Mexican officials under pressure from Texas politicians. At first, Matamoros police arrested only 4 of Constanzo's followers. However, on April 1, Serafin Hernandez Garcia, a drug dealer and associate of Constanzo, refused to stop at a checkpoint. He allegedly believed himself to be protected by an invisibility charm. Constanzo had sold his crime family. Local police followed Hernandez to Rancho Santa Elena. The police conducted a quick search of the property and discovered drugs and firearms, arresting Hernandez. Hernandez confessed to kidnapping and killing Mark J. Kilroy, as well as assisting in the murders of 14 other people, while in custody. He then accompanied the police on a more thorough search of Rancho Santa Elena, which resulted in the discovery of 15 buried bodies, including Mark J. Kilroy, as well as the Nana Constanzo had used for the sacrifices. Constanzo's personal home in Mexico City was also searched, and a hidden torture chamber was discovered. When Constanzo learned of this, he went into hiding with 4 of his followers and planned to flee Mexico. When he heard on the news that Rancho Santa Elena had been burned and the site had been. On May 6, police officers were searching for a missing child in an unrelated search near where Constanzo and 3 of his followers, Aldrete, Quintana, and a third member, Alvaro de Leon, were hiding. Constanzo panicked and began firing at the officers as they approached their door. The ensuing standoff lasted 45 minutes and involved over 180 police officers, with only 1 injured. Constanzo, unwilling to go to prison, directed de Leon to shoot him. De Leon and Aldrete were arrested after Constanzo and Quintana were killed. They and 12 other cult members were charged with a variety of cult-related crimes, including murder, drug trafficking, firearm offenses, and obstruction of justice. Sarah Aldrete, Serafin Hernandez, and his brother Elio were all sentenced to more than 60 years in prison, with de Leon receiving a 30-year term. None of them were prosecuted for the murder of Mark Kilroy, though American authorities are prepared to do so if they are ever released.